Hello again. Today I want to show you how to create this interesting effect. I saw this a few years ago, but I don't know how it was done, so I had to figure it all out myself. I went for a walk in the woods with my camera, took some footage, and that's what we're going to work with here today. So import the footage, create a new composition, and I want to trim the beginning of the video. I don't want, so just trim comp, and now we've got about a 30-35 second clip, and you need to videotape it as if that image is really there when you're taping it. Otherwise it's not going to work. Alright, so first we need to do some tracking. The 3D tracker, 3D camera tracker. Now we'll let that go. Takes a few minutes. And now it's solving for camera. And we're done. I speeded that up a little bit, as you probably guessed. Now we've got all these nice colorful little flowers, these little markers on the ground, and we want to choose one right where the camera rotates 90 degrees. So we'll pick a spot where it appears to be level, and we'll create a null in camera. And now you see that little null there resides by that tree. And we're going to attach our static image to that null. So now we want to duplicate our footage, and the top layer we're going to rename image. How's that sound? And we want to freeze frame that. First you've got to disable or remove the 3D camera tracker from that layer, so just simply delete it. Now we'll try it again. Go to layer, time, freeze frame. Now that image is frozen. Now we want to make it 3D. And we want to position that image right where the null is. So copy the position from the null and paste onto that image layer. So now the positions are the same, and you see now how the 3D camera is kicking in there. Okay, now we have to we want to resize the image layer so it's exactly the same as the original footage. So we just move it around the X and Y axis, and the scale it up, move it around a little bit more. We want it to be as close to the original footage as possible. So let's click that layer on, off. See, that's pretty good. That's pretty close. It doesn't have to be perfect. That looks pretty good. Yeah, it's close enough. Now we'll highlight that layer, and we'll use the rectangle tool, and we're going to create a mask, and we want to go as close to the edge of the path as possible. So right next to that tree and at the edge of the path. Let's try that out and see what it looks like. So that image is attached to the null, and that looks pretty good. It's staying right there. It's not drifting. It's there. That's great. That's a good tracking. That's a really good tracking. And I think I want to extend the sides, the right and left sides of the image. So I'll highlight the mask and grab the two corners, and we'll bring that out to the edge of the pathway, and the other side we're going to move over a little way from the tree. Let's see what that looks like. You don't want it to come over the path, because you'll be walking through it then, and that just won't seem real. So right to the edge of the path, and I'm still not happy with how close it is to the tree. Let me move it a little bit closer to the tree on the left side. Oops. Try that again. Alright, let's see what this does. That looks pretty good. You can always go back and adjust whatever you like here. You just want it to be floating as you walk past it, and I think this is pretty good. Now we're going to create an outer glow. I like to highlight the edges right at the beginning of the video with a little bit of glow. After a few seconds into the video, we'll increase the size to about 50 and the opacity all the way up to 100, and we'll begin at 0, quickly go up to 100%, and then back down to 0 again. So let's see what that looks like. That just kind of tells the viewer that this is what's being frozen, this is what's being tracked by the 3D camera to get your attention. It's just kind of a catchy, nice thing to look at here. Alright, looking good. Now, I like the back of the image to look different than the front, so I duplicate that layer. The top layer will end right there and the bottom layer will begin. So now I can do some interesting things with the back side of the image. So let's start off with some turbulent displacement, and give it a little movement like it's a sheet blowing in the wind. Let's make the displacement amount 25, and the size will be 50, and we'll add keyframes at the beginning of that layer. Let's move those over a few seconds, and then we'll zero out the amount. We'll start off with 0, go up to 25%, and then evolution. We'll give that about 2 rotations. 2 cycles from beginning to end. That should be enough. give it a slight movement. I'll change that to Turbulent Smooth. So it looks like it's a large sheet that's hanging over a clothesline with a gentle breeze blowing on it. Okay, so to make it even more realistic, we're going to add some curtain effects, presets, animation, backgrounds. The curtain effect will give it a little more movement, like the wind blowing against the sheet, creating these ripple effects. Let's turn off the tritone, turn the opacity down to about 20. The blending mode, you can play with that. Luminosity, probably normal's fine. And now we need to modify the evolution keyframes. Slide the first keyframe up to the beginning of the layer. The last keyframe will make that 3. And again, you can play with those numbers. The higher that last keyframe number, the quicker the ripple effect will be. So there, see that? See the those ripples? They're going from left to right, right to left. That just gives it a little more realistic appearance. It's really blowing in the breeze. That looks really good. Okay, I also like to add an effect called CC Burn Film, and it just gives the appearance that it burns out from the center outward. You need to center that location of the burn, and there's the effect. I like that. That's kind of cool. Alright, the turbulent displacement, we forgot to center that offset, so that should be in the center of that image. It's looking very realistic. I like that. And it's burning away. Alright. Alright, let's create a shadow, and we'll just duplicate image 2 and we'll rename it shadow, and we'll tilt the axis down so it looks like it fits in with the video. And we'll go to fill, that and make that solid black. the opacity, we'll crank that down to about 30 or so. You'll have to move that down, line it up so it looks like it's being cast, the shadow is being cast from the image. Move that over a little bit more. It should begin, you should see that shadow a little sooner. Now let me move that over a little bit more. Adjust that over. Just be sure that the shadow layer is below the image layers. Alright, that seems to be lined up pretty well. And we'll put a fast blur on that. Blur it a little bit. Now the shadow comes on too abruptly, so let's taper that with the opacity. We'll start off, we'll go from 0 to 100%. Alright, let's take a quick look at what we've got. This is our finished product. Well, that null is staying in place really well. And that rippling effect really makes it look like that's blowing around in the breeze and boom, burn up, gone. Alright, I hope everybody enjoyed this. Have fun. Goodbye.